Being a broker sometimes means you can be broke. Meaning, I don't want to give away my commission to have somebody, even 10% or something. I'll just do it myself. A couple of my agents started training with Aaron Novello and I saw the growth. And though they got the great basic training and everything that all my other agents got, they needed more. But when I saw that they were training with you guys and just how much they were advancing, that was my kind of where I needed to decide, okay, what am I going to do?
So we have a special treat today. We have one of the premier broker owners of her own brokerage, founder and owner of Steedwood Realty Group. This is Christine Adjum, and she was kind enough to come on and just give us her story on, how she came about as far as getting her license to now owning a brokerage of over what was your total max? 50 agents?
Between 55 to 60.
So Christine understands and knows how to scale. I'd say this, Christine, agents come from all walks of life. The overwhelming majority leave the industry after 1 year. What made you different?
I thought, that's a good question because a lot of times, when I first came out in 2005, before I even went to take my test, I shared that, the dream with my friends and family, closest friends. And actually the feedback I received was, wow, there's just, thousands and thousands of agents out there. How are you going to even survive? Because they know people or knew people that started and quit. So when I talked about joining, getting my license, that was kind of their encouragement, which was not very encouraging. And, and at the time I could have just said, yeah, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't even go forward with it. I just finished my master's and was doing, work with my master's degree. But I wanted something more. So when I shared that and they told me that, I had to kind of tell myself, hey, you can do this. You're built different, and I like the word built different because my son uses that now that he's built different. And you have to have that mindset of, you can do it. Otherwise, it's easy to fall back and say, you know what? Yeah, there's hundreds and thousands of agents, so I'm not going to do anything. And then it's easy to quit. So I think what helped me the most was just growing up. My dad used to tell me, he taught me one thing that I took with me throughout whatever I did was I'm going to try my best. That was the statement that I would always tell people. In interviews. So whenever I went to a job interview, 9 out of 10 times I would get it just for that one statement that my dad taught me. When I came out in 2005, anybody could sell a house. I mean, we all know that time, during that period, all you needed was just a license and a brokerage to hang your license. When anything's easy, everybody comes out of the woodworks to do it. It's when it gets tough is when you really have to pull yourself out of that place and remind yourself, of all the things that you were able to accomplish, and try to relive those moments. And so when 2008 came, 2007 and 8, when it got really quiet, agents were dropping out. And, if I'm honest, I kind of had to hang my hat, hang my license for a while because I was, because I had, 2 kids at the time. They were like just born in a year. And so short sales were happening, foreclosures were happening. The banks didn't know what they were doing. So by the time you closed a deal, you calculate your commission, you're making $1 an hour. And I couldn't survive on that. So what I did was I shifted with with what was happening in the market. So I got into the construction world doing fire and water restoration. I didn't do it myself, but I took the knowledge that I've gained over the years, of building businesses and stuff. And I was part of a business where I did all of the marketing, the financial side, the back end of everything. And it was very successful. During that time, there were a lot of fires going on, people buying houses way above their means. And so in 2007, 8, there was just an influx of fires on homes. either people burning
Wow.
themselves because they were
Yes.
underwater, or because when they were buying houses during that time, nobody was doing home inspections and stuff. So heating elements, things like that they knew nothing about probably caused fires. So I got into that industry for a good amount of time, from 2008 to about 2012. And then, I wanted to do real estate again. And during that time, I just felt like, why not go back into real estate again? My license is there. I love helping people. And I felt this calling to just come out and do it and create something that was different. Not just another brokerage, but a brokerage where I could build a culture that agents could come pray with their clients, and just during a time where a lot of people needed support and love.
It's funny. We used to joke in 2005, 6, like if you had all you needed was a pulse and a license, and you could sell real estate. And you're right. Everybody comes out of the woodwork when things are going well. But, talk to me when, your back's up against the wall and you're struggling. That to me is how you really learn about somebody and what's going on inside of them. So, when did you really start to see results? So you started Cedarwood in 2013.
Yes.
When did you really start to see results?
As an agent, everybody comes out thinking, "Oh, I want to be a broker one day." They think that once you get to broker size, you've reached the top or something. But I mentor some brokers right now, and the thing I tell them is, when you become a broker, it's not just what you know about real estate. You now become a business owner. A business owner and a broker, two very different things. And if you don't get it together, you're quick to fail. I had to learn that. So I had my experience as a realtor, but I also had my experience as a business owner doing the construction. So I took the two and I merged it together, and that really helped. So in the beginning, when I first started, calling people, and I would say, "This is Christine from Steedwood Realty," and they would say, What company?
Who? Yeah, right. Who?
That was like, talk about humility and being humbled. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not Keller Williams, I'm not Remax, and at that time, it would have been easy for me to say, "You know what, 1 year into it, I'm done. Nobody knows me." But
Sure.
I just kept pressing through, and again, branding myself to be very different from the other companies. And after, I think when we've really first seen results was after, that was 2013 when I started. By 2014, within a year, I started seeing results. And then that's when agents started joining. And so 15, 16, 17 were like glory years, because they say your first 3 years, you're either going to make it or break it. If you can pass the third year, that's when you start to see profits. If you're not seeing that in your third or fourth year, then you're doing something wrong.
When I met you, one of the things you said to me was our mantra is mission over commission. Yes. Talk to me about that. What does that mean to you?
So I coined that in 2017. I was sitting in a meeting with all my agents. And again, we brought God into a lot of things we did. So I just sat there and I looked at the wall that day, and the term mission over commission came about because, I'm always supporting ministries and things like that. And I think that became us, people recognized us for that, for our work with ministries and missions and all of that. And honestly, being entrusted with someone's biggest asset or biggest investment is we can't take it lightly. And so, I had clients that they would come to me and going through a certain thing in their life or whatever, I've actually guided them to do what was best for them. And, and sometimes that meant walking away from a $20,000, $30,000 commission.
Sure.
So, that was something that I think people started recognizing and started really trusting me with. And so that's why it came about. It was our mission to help people is so much more than the commission.
For me, one of the reasons that my business really started to grow, and it was over, I'd say, the last 2 to 3 years, is just purely that when you actually can cultivate a relationship where it's out of the gate, somebody that doesn't know you says to you, hey, you know what? You have my best interest in mind. I trust you. That you those three words to me, I don't think that they're more important words in real estate. I trust you. And when you can build that and look, I'll say this too. Sellers know within 5 minutes whether you're full of crap or you're actually very genuine. They can tell. So that really has to be something that's an innate quality. It's inside of you that you're putting somebody else and their needs over you and your commission. Now, this is interesting because I'm listening to you talk and I'm hearing habits. So talk to me about habits. Talk to me about ones you've eliminated, ones that you've built over time that are like staples to your success.
Well, when you talk about habits, I think about not just the physical habit, but there's the emotional, the mental habits.
Mm.
So getting up in the morning, going to work out is a physical habit, but the mental part of it, you also have to cultivate, which is getting up in the morning to get out the
Mm-hmm.
door. Habits, I think the thing for me that realtors, I tell everybody that I come across that I mentor, you would be the best realtor if you could become the best marketer, right? And
Mm.
a lot of agents, when they come out, they in the beginning they're excited, they get on Facebook, they get whatever, and they start posting, for the first few weeks, the first month, and after that they disappear
Mm-hmm.
into thin air. And
Yes.
and then on top of that, they're not willing to invest if they don't have time to market themselves. They're not willing to invest in a company that can help them market. And so you kind of disappear into, this black hole of realtors because people aren't seeing you every day or at least once or twice a week. I always say, why would you wake up? Why would you wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, get yourself ready, get breakfast, whatever, drive this long drive to go work for somebody else 40 hours a week when you can actually do it for yourself? If you just put 30 hours or 20 hours a week in
Mm.
marketing yourself, you wouldn't have to ever work for anybody again. But sometimes people don't develop the habit of being consistent with their marketing, with whatever it requires to be out there, that they just quit because they don't see results and then they go work 40 hours for someone else.
Yeah, and I mean, so it's interesting that with us, it's we're our own business. We're our own. I'm my own entity. You have Cedarwood Realty, and we'll get into the transition from Cedarwood to EXP, which is still Cedarwood. But with regards to that, yeah, it's like if you're not willing to invest time and money into yourself as a brand and a business, you're not going to succeed in this world where literally everything is done from this. And you were in this in a time when this wasn't around.
Right. Right.
It was
Thanks,
the
man.
first iPhone came out. Yeah, well, I joke because my generation, and I think you're part of my
Yeah,
generation too, Gen
absolutely.
X.
Yeah.
We had life before these, and we had life before beepers and all of that good stuff. We had payphones.
Yep.
I'm imagining that there would be habits that you've eliminated over time too.
Yes.
What are some that you've eliminated over time?
Well, it's funny you mentioned the phone, right? Because there's the great part about the phone, which makes life easier, makes, business easier sometimes, marketing way easier. For me, you don't have yellow
Mm.
pages to put your business in anymore, right? But then there's
Yes.
the danger of the phone where if you don't manage your time right, you can be on that phone scrolling all day long and
Yes.
lose sight of what's important, which is your business, your family, and all of that. So the thing I had to eliminate probably was or manage better, have more discipline, was the temptation of just staying on the phone. I think
Yep.
that's one of the things that we don't really think about much because we're so used to it. But
Mm-hmm.
it eats into your time. It eats into your ability to manage your business. It eats into your family time. It eats into a lot of things. So that's one thing I had to eliminate. I mean, I still am on the phone, doing things, but I try to keep it quick, simple, and not drag things out or not sit there and scroll through,
Yeah.
hours of
Yeah.
information that's not even important, you know?
It's so I time block it. So I'll time block, and I'm going to ask you your morning because I'm curious because you're people that are wildly successful guys. We all do the same things in the morning. You know, our mornings are generally the same. And I bet you, I don't know Christine's morning, but I'm going to imagine that in my brain I have an idea because it's probably very similar to mine. But with regards to the phone, I time block that to where it's not, you know, yes, it's next to me in the morning because I'm on the phone making calls, but social media is not to be opened until, you know, probably early afternoon. And that's a part of networking for me and for you too. Like we network through that. So I'll time block an hour or maybe 45. I don't try to go over an hour. I usually do about 45 minutes around 2:30 when I'm done with like, you know, lunch and follow up, and I'll scroll and see agents that are posting their things, and I'll comment on it. And it's a marketing way too because I'm marketing myself in front of them. What does your morning look like?
My mornings are a little bit different now, you know, but when I was building the brokerage, my morning was I would get up because my kids are younger, get up around 5, sometimes 4:30,
Okay.
you know, get myself ready so that I could go make breakfast and everything for them. But
Mm-hmm.
even before that, I'd get up at 4 or 5, and I to be honest, I get into my Bible reading, and I
Mm-hmm.
do, you know, a prayer, and then I would go and get myself ready, get the kids ready. And once I drop them off, I would go to the office. You know, so I'm always at the office by 7:30, you know, latest 8 o'clock if I didn't have a meeting. But that was my routine every morning is get up, get myself into a place of whether you're listening to a sermon, some music that's motivating for you or something. But that was something I was very consistent with.
Awesome. And then so this is great. So then you get to the office, and let's say it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
What is it? Running team meetings? Is it getting on the phones and doing lead generation?
Yeah.
Is it following up? Like, what does the morning look like from a business perspective?
Get in, you know, I would get myself up and running. And then we normally have like trainings once a week on Wednesdays. So we would have physical trainings with the team.
Okay.
Some mornings I meet with my staff just to go over what's happening and everything, and then just go through my to-do list of what I did, what I need to do, and all that. So by 11 o'clock before lunch, I've done everything that I needed to do. Then I would schedule lunches with people all the time, either coffee or lunch. You know, in a week, I would make myself. I would sit down with somebody at least 2 or 3 days a week, whether it's lunch or coffee, just to get myself out there, you know, just to learn about other people, and what I love is like when you meet with people, you learn about their needs. And so you collaborate and see how you can work together. What can you do? It's not just about you going and saying, oh, this is what I do. And it's really just a meeting of the minds, brainstorming. And I did that. That was a regular thing that I used to do in the, you know, when I would come to the office. So I would plan these meetings. So by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I'm done. I'd go pick up my kids, and then the rest of my day would be at home doing whatever I needed to do.
Listen, I don't, people probably don't know, but you have a lot of contacts. You're a listing machine. You probably list 4, 5, 6 properties in a month. Where did you fit in time for appointments, meeting with sellers, listings, things of that nature?
I think, you know, as a broker, you don't have much time to do all that because you're helping your agents. But I developed a system that a lot of, you know, listing agents do, is that you understand the value of a team. So, you know, I created a team where, you know, my job is to go meet with the client and bring back the deal. And then everybody, you know, has their role of, okay, getting the listing sheet, the MLS ready, getting this, getting that. So it made it very easy for me to carve out time to meet with sellers. So that was my biggest job, was going, meeting with the sellers, you know, doing comps with them, making sure that I can help them. And then once they agree to work with me, then I would come back and say, okay, Tommy, here's our new listing, get to work. And he's amazing. He would put together the listing. He'd get the contracts out for the sellers to sign. He did all the things that a normal agent would do, that would take them a few hours. I've honed it to my skill became all I do is go and meet with them. And then we have our
Yep.
team working on everything else.
I noticed that when, you again, I see what's, the production that you're doing, and I'm imagining that you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't have a system in place. So you have, so for everybody listening, Christine has a system in place to where all she does now is just set up appointments and go meet with sellers. Once that the seller agrees, the system is contracts go out, listing is up, and then showings and the property gets sold. How long did it take you to put that system into place?
Again, let's go back to being a broker. Being a broker sometimes means you can be broke. Meaning you invest not just time, but you invest time, talent, and treasure. Treasure meaning sometimes your agents are not producing the way they need to, and so you're having to put your time into producing to bring in that income. So there was a period, I think, between 2013 to 2020, because there was a boom right there. That was good for every real estate agent out there. But in between there, I had to kind of do my own deals while building, because when you first come out, you might have 1 or 2 or 3 agents, or 5 agents even, or 10 agents. And out of those 10 agents, you have, a few that produce, but still not enough to run the business. So I had to still go get listings. I had to still do that. So that's when I developed the system of, hey, how can I do this without running myself ragged, helping my agents, doing my own deals? What can I do? And so that's when I developed that system of, okay, I'm not going to worry about the paperwork. I'm going to train somebody like a transaction coordinator to do all of that. So by the time I get back with the contract or with the yes, that somebody's already sending out contracts and everything for me. That's when the system was put in place, probably 4 or 5 years after I became a broker. And it was a necessary thing that I needed to do.
We speak about it a lot. System, the only way and it sounds like for you, it's true too. I mean, it's for pretty much anybody who scales. You were able to scale because you had systems in place.
But the thing is, you also have to have that, again, it comes down to mindset. A lot of people don't want to implement that system because they're thinking, oh no, I need to share my commission. I don't want to give away my commission to have somebody, even 10% or something for someone to do that. I'll just do it myself. But what they don't realize is the time that you put into that, to having someone help you, you could be out there getting more deals.
Right.
Instead of working on 1 deal, now you're working on 3 deals with someone's help. So you're making more than what you're bringing in.
Did that go into your decision to open Cedarwood Realty? Why not just be an agent and work for a traditional brokerage and let them take splits?
Because I'm built different. Because I always, I'm always thinking, like my brain never stops. And it just got to a point where, I wanted to build. I love building. I didn't want to just come in and just be an agent with someone. I had that experience. I love building a business. So I figured, hey, if I'm going to do this, I might as well just try this. And if it doesn't work, then, I'll go back to being an agent. I always have that mentality of, try. And if it doesn't work, then you have a backup.
From 2013 to 2023, four. You guys were, you're operating, things are well. How was the transition from COVID? We don't know how COVID affected the real estate industry in New Jersey. Thankfully, and I'm very grateful that we were still allowed to do transactions because certain states had real estate as outside the scope of a state of emergency, so we were allowed to transact. I don't think New York was. I think New York was no, and you're in Massachusetts.
The year that we thought everything was going to shut down and we would be in trouble was the year that I think everybody, a lot of agents prospered. I think because people were, making decisions too, that, from moving from here to Florida, and, a lot of transitions in people's lives. So people were still, doing the transaction. So we were
Right.
pretty busy actually that year.
So then let's talk about 2022.
Mhm.
And you're now noticing, as a broker and an owner,
Yeah.
transactions are shrinking.
Thinking. Yes. Yeah.
What was your talk to me about your experience with that?
Definitely, I had to step out more as a broker to do my own deals as well, to be able to support the business end of it. But yeah, agents were, we had some agents starting to walk away because they weren't doing deals like before.
Right.
And then there were new agents coming out as well, because, they were the whole thing with, okay, I want to go to college, don't want to go to college. After 2020, colleges look different. And so some of the younger agents that already had the business mindset, decided, hey, I'm just going to try for this instead of keep going to college. And so we had a lot of young agents sign on as well around the same time. So I really,
Okay.
that I think that's when I saw the shift in the business, and that's when I really felt the burnout, of
Okay.
running the business while doing stuff, but also the challenges of the market and everything. So I really had to think about, what am I going to do next? Because this is a new wave of realtors coming out. The ones that, our generation, they're either deciding, okay, they're going to just hang up their license and collect, or just quit altogether. So now we're facing a different challenge of, okay, training. There was a point where training agents was fine, just the traditional training that we do. But now you have
Yep.
young agents that are coming out were joining us, that needed more training, needed better training. And I
Right.
just didn't have, as a broker owner, I just didn't have that capacity. I knew my limits. I knew what I could provide. I knew what I couldn't provide. And with the shift in the industry and everything, I needed one, to have agents that were going to be trained well, because everything's on the computer. Everything is, people, buyers and sellers are more savvy now, and you can't really stick with the traditional way of doing business, you know, and do well anymore. So during that time, while everything is shifting, and, there are things in my life that was shifting too. So I had to make that decision of what to do with the company.
Right.
Over the years, we've had, a lot of big companies, Keller Williams, Remax, all these big companies coming to us and trying to, just bring us in. And I've talked to a few of them, listened to their model and everything, but I just was not in that place yet. Just so happened, during that period, a couple of my agents started training with Aaron Novello and you as well. And I
Mm-hmm.
saw what was happening with them. I saw the growth, because they had been with us for a year before, I think, they started training with you. And though they got the
Mm-hmm.
great basic training and everything that all my other agents got, they needed more.
Yeah.
They were hungry to learn, and I knew I couldn't give that. But when I saw that they were training with you guys, and just how much they were learning, how much they were advancing, that was kind of where I needed to decide, okay, what am I going to do? The agents I have now, some of them have 5-6 years left, in them. And then with the younger ones, what am I going to do when they come? They're going to eventually leave. I'm going to train them for a couple of years, and then they leave. So that makes it doesn't make any good sense to
Sure.
run the business. So I started looking into, EXP and a couple other companies. And then when
Mm-hmm.
those agents came, Keelan and Omar, and told me about
Mm-hmm.
EXP, although I was talking to another team, they told me about your team, and then we talked. That's when
Mm-hmm.
it just made sense to me. Like, okay, yes, you build a business, and yes, you're proud of it, but there's got to be a point where it's not just about your pride anymore. It's about the people that you're leading, and how do you want to lead them? Are you going to are
Yeah.
you going to be so selfish to hang on to your ways and your name and everything while your agents are struggling? You may be doing fine, but your agents are struggling because they're not getting the trainings that they need.
Right.
So that's when we sat down, we talked, and not just, you guys didn't just talk, but I saw the result, that we were producing through Keelan, through Omar. And that's when I said,
Yeah.
hey, worst case, again, here's the thing. Worst case, I mean, I'll join. Worst case, we separate and I go back to my own brokerage. Best case, I continue to go down this path, partnering up with them and
Yeah.
help making my life a little bit easier too, which it has, as a broker. So that's what happened in the 2022 to 2023, was making
Yeah.
decisions for the agents, the best decisions for the agents, for myself, and then for the company as a whole.
It's funny. I sometimes don't think about how long I was working with Keelan. We did a call with Keelan and I, with Aaron, a year before him and Omar talked to you. And I kept working with him after that. Like, he wasn't ready to, and I'll give you full disclosure. He said, I'm not ready to leave my brokerage yet. And he said, you don't know the people there. And I didn't know you guys at that time. And to me, I'm like, I can't understand that. And now that I met you, I do. I get it. But he was having an internal struggle. And I'll never, one of the things that I pride myself on is that I'll never have somebody go against what's inside of them, telling them, what's telling them. If you're not ready to come over yet, that's fine. I said, we can still work together, and I'm going to help you and mentor you as much as I can. And he was going through an interesting time because he was in college and asked me, should I drop out of college? And I said to him, listen, what does inside here tell you? I said, I'm not inside your head. You tell me what does your gut say? And he said, I really think that I want to I'm not feeling like college is for me. And I said, well, here's the great thing that you can do is, I said, don't look at it as dropping out. Look at it like pushing the pause button. Let's give this a full time, we go hard. I'm going to give you the blueprint, follow this, and then let's talk as the months go on. And you see it, he flourished and is like, I'm not going to college. So I'm not saying that's for everybody, but the moral of this is he waited a year before he was ready to make the transition. And then when we talked to you, well, he said, my broker wants to talk to you. And then you and I talked, and you felt like, let's move this up another level. And we did.
I mean, and it's been, started transitioning over last year, I think May 2024,
Yeah.
because it did take me a few months to really get to that place of, okay, I'm doing this. But since then, the agents that did follow us, not all of them did. The ones that were
Right.
producing dropped out. Some of them went on their own. But the ones that followed, they're all thriving. They all love the support that EXP gives, and then Elite Builders.
Yep.
There was a lot of value that you guys added to us. And not only that, we all go through different phases of our lives. I was going through, something in my life where I needed that support, because when you're a broker, you're a lone ranger. And I hear that a lot from brokers is, I'm on an island by myself. Nobody really understands. The agents think you're making all this money when in reality you're not. Everybody thinks you got it good because you're a broker, but a lot of these brokers they feel so alone. And I did feel like that for a while. It's like you're constantly investing in this person and that person and everything, and you forget about yourself. And I think that's what happened with me too, is I just my focus got blurry towards the end, and I just needed to really get myself back into that place again. A lot of my agents capped. EXP has a
Mm-hmm.
cap where you go in and you make so much, and then after that you're 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But I think what they value the most, and they get excited too, is, hey, we got this training, we got that training, and trainings that
Yeah.
they would never have been able to get with our brokerage, or any other smaller brokerage as well.
Yeah.
But when I did look at different brokerages, what I loved about not just EXP but elite builders, you really have to understand that your team is the core, is everything. If you're not getting the right support from the right team, you're gonna fail. And I see that. I see people coming to EXP or Real or Keller Williams or whatever, and then they get discouraged because the team
Mm.
that they joined didn't live up to what they promised. You guys, I mean, I can honestly say what you say you do. Your training, the system that you guys have, you're there all the time. When you say, okay, there's a training this day and that day and the other, it's a guarantee that you're there.
Thank you for the kind words, number one. I always try to, I think like leaders create leaders. Yeah. And I think that you've done a phenomenal job in your brokerage of doing that.
Thank you.
A lot of your agents they have the potential to really, to lead. Mm-hmm. And I see that too. Yeah. A few in particular. Mm-hmm. And that's what, and as a leader too, I'm not going to challenge you when I know that that's not what you need at this moment.
Yeah.
And I like to think that I can read a room. Mm-hmm. So there are times when you just needed something different, or maybe I need something different. Right. And the leaders in the org can understand that and support us and support me and you and whoever in the way that we need at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. And so that it's a nice compliment. And I think that as time moves on, life is a bucket of seasons, which is all we go through different seasons. And, I'm looking forward to the next season. I know you are too, where, and I'll go back for a moment. And so I'm imagining that when you transitioned over, so for everybody that's listening, when Christine transitioned to EXP, she's still the broker owner of Steedwood Realty. Yeah. Like Steedwood Realty is still there. Yeah. All they are is just under the EXP umbrella. Yeah. So we take care of all the admin, we take care of all the insurance, we take care of all the paperwork, compliance, all the minutia that was taking Christine away from production and mentoring and helping agents. Yeah. Tell me about that transition in your business and with your agents.
So like I said, some of the brokerages I did talk to that wanted us to join, what I learned was that, yes, you can join, but you're still, as a broker, you're still licensed. You still have to carry the license. You still have to carry the insurance and everything. All you're doing is buying the name.
Got it.
And that wasn't appealing to me, because if I'm just buying the name and I'm paying that to another company and I still had to carry out the liability, what was the point? Right. So the transition over was, one, I didn't want the liability anymore. I didn't want to, if an agent gets sued or something, I didn't want to have to deal with that, because it can make or break your business. The transition over was, it was bittersweet. It was, in the beginning, it was like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right choices and stuff? But as I came over and I realized, okay, there's another broker that I can actually talk to and get support from. There's a whole team. So I tell my team sometimes, this is what it's about. You're not moving away from anything. You're coming to something that's even better. Now you have a whole HR department you can go to. You have a whole marketing department you can go to, and you have a whole sales and training department you can go to. Where
Right.
before we were just this one group, and I had one admin, sometimes one and a half admin, and they didn't know where to go sometimes, or when they did, it's not like here. Every agent, whenever they need something, they just go into this place called World and ask their questions, or so the
Yeah.
support is huge, not just on one level, but on every level. And so that
Yeah.
made it easier for me to digest letting go of something that I, built from the ground up. But like you said, I still retain, the company name. I still market
Mm-hmm.
myself as Cedarwood Group. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the team leader, although I still
Yep.
retain my broker's license. I don't have the responsibility that I used to have, which weighed me down, which, caused me to lose sleep, which stressed me out, which, you know, um, so I can say right now, I love what I do, even more now because I don't have all that stress that I used to have. And then the training, I think one of the big things that with brokers that I've talked to is training. We all
Mm-hmm.
hate trainings. we all do. We're always constantly trying to say, okay, who can we bring in to train? And you can only
Yeah.
bring in so many mortgage lenders to train before
That's
you
so funny.
you run out of
Yeah.
topics.
Because I enjoy it. It's
Yeah.
I love the mentoring, training, working with Keelan, and he's on his own. I mean, he's off and running now and doing his own thing. Same thing with a bunch of the other Omar's doing his own thing. He always was, but um, the trainings are what. Yeah, that's a big. It's a big part of my business because when I can train and help an agent be self sufficient, you know, they can go anywhere in the country or in the world, really, and go and sell real estate. And those are skills that are, how do I say this? They're building themselves and making themselves a better version of who they are because now they're learning and growing, and then they can take that knowledge and put it into income. Yeah. So, and you mentioned like you don't like to do trainings anymore. Like not that it was something that took a lot of your time and it was necessary. What is your life like now? Now that you've partnered with us and you're a year in, you're a little bit over a year in.
To sum it up, it's a lot less stressful. It
Mm,
really is. I still do my own deals. Actually, I do more deals now, which is what I really love. That's why I became a realtor. But I
right.
still I still have um, I still run the team. So anytime
Mm-hmm.
time they need me, but I don't get my phone is not inundated with calls and questions anymore because now it gets filtered through EXP, Elite Builders. You guys are there to answer any questions. We have, WhatsApp groups that people are posting constantly. So there's always things to learn and question. You can put your questions there and somebody will answer for you immediately. So
Mm-hmm.
my day is a lot freer. I go to my daughter's in volleyball now. I go to every game that she has.
Wow.
Anything that they need. If she forgets something, and I need to run it down, I can just run it down. So
So you weren't able to do that
no,
before.
before I'd have to be like, okay, wait, Faith, let me find some, or something. And
Yeah.
I would have to miss this or miss that. And, as a mom, you want to be there for them as much as you can. So it's allowed me that freedom to now go and be present. Being present, not just with your clients, but being present with your kids is so important, and you only have your
Mm-hmm.
kids for so long. And if you're not present with them, at least, especially in the last few years when they need you the most, it's tough for not just for you, but for them. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for that I'm able to free up my time because you guys have taken on a lot of the responsibilities that I was inundated with, to be able to, take care of my home. I can decide what to take, what not to take, how much to work, and it's so
Yes.
much better.
It sounds like you're in full control
Yes.
of your life, but I would put it in you're in full control
Mhm.
of yourself, your family, and your business. Now that you've just let us take the minutia of compliance and admin and training and all the things that pull you away that take a lot of time during the
Yeah.
day. to do.
And I do want to throw in, you guys, because I know a lot of teams, a lot of groups, a lot of leaders, you guys aren't there for your glory. You really aren't. You and Aaron, you guys aren't there to toot your horn and say, I'm this and I'm that. You guys really are there because you've seen what it's done for your life, and you just want all of us to have that same. And I can say that because that's what I want for my agents. I get excited when I hear them, oh, I closed on this, because I know that closing isn't just about the dollar. It's about what it can do for their family, going on vacations together and doing things that they could never have done before. Taking a stay-at-home mom, going from not believing in herself that she could even own a business or be a business owner to now, a full-fledged agent that is so busy, but yet still has time to go on vacation with her kids. That's what I want for my agents. So that's what I see that you guys want for all of us. And that's the difference.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. It's, yeah, I mean, look, I went to college to teach. So this, pouring out and sharing into others is like second nature to me. And I enjoy it. Yeah. It gives me, it makes me whole and happy. Yeah. I don't have, like a significant other or like kids. So me pouring out into like agents and others and watching them flourish and become like just the best versions of themselves that they can. Yeah, that's what gets me jazzed. Yeah. So being able to do that and help you and your team, really it's your team, your agents to do that. And I love when, Mubraka will reach out to me with a question. Yeah. Keelan's, not bashful at all. Yeah. And it really has been fulfilling for me to be able to do this and partner with you at the same time. And I'm just thrilled that you guys chose us to partner with. So,
me too. And, I want to speak to all the brokers out there because, again, when you can't really speak to that unless you've experienced it. And there's always ups and downs and everything. But if any broker out there, if you're in a place where you're struggling, if you feel like this whole brokerage thing is taking you away from your family and you're just like not knowing what to do or who to even talk to, I want to encourage them to reach out to me or to you or Aaron, because there is life after being a broker, actually life during being a broker, and you can still maintain your brokerage license and still do what you do, but live in a way that you're not a slave to that brokerage that you built.
Yeah.
I know people are brokers, like I said earlier, we feel like we're on an island. And I felt that many, many, many times, throughout the last 11 years of being an owner. But then there's also that part of you where the pride is there and you're like, I don't want to let go. I don't want to, but sometimes you have to know when to let go, before, everything around you falls apart. And I think I had to go through that to now be able to say, hey, you don't want to get to that place of broker burnout. I mean, if you are burnt out, then come on, call us. We'll walk you through it because we know what it's like. If you're getting there, before you get there, call us because we'll show you how not to get there, because the burnout can sometimes be very devastating. And the comeback is a little bit harder sometimes, but you don't need to go there. When we can give you a system and put things in place so that it'll be night and day, and in reality, sometimes you'll be making more money doing it this way as a team than you were by yourself on an island, with people that you're trying to lead. You can't lead people well if you're not well, if you're burnt out. You'll be impatient with them. You won't have time for them. You sometimes won't even answer your phone calls, their phone calls. So if you think you're leading them well while you're burning out, you're really not, so do yourself a favor, do your agents a favor, get real, really assess what you're doing, know your numbers, because if you don't know your numbers and what you're making, and if you're even making anything, then you're just really wasting your time.
Yeah, you said something very interesting. If you're not well, you can't lead well. And I mean, that's like being a public success and a private mess.
Yeah.
So And I mean, just listening to you, I can hear, you're happy. You're able to spend time.
Mhm.
I mean, we all are here. We all work. Why do we work?
Mhm.
We work so we can
Yes.
spend more time with the people that we
Yeah.
love, which relationships is really
Yeah.
it. And you're now able to spend more time with the people you love
Yes.
because, and you also mentioned too, I was able to let go of it. But really, let's think about like, what did you really let go of? But just the admin and the training
Mhm.
and and that you still
Yep.
run your
Yep.
team and you still run, the
Right.
brokerage. It's just again, it's umbrellaed under
Yeah.
EXP.
Yeah.
So you still have everything that you had built up.
Right.
You just don't have to do all of the day to
Yeah.
day that brokers, can take a lot of
Yeah.
time.
And honestly, if you really care about your agents, you would take a real assessment of how much they were making with you
Mhm.
as a broker and with EXP. Because in reality, the cap, I mean, a small brokerage, you can't afford caps. You really can't.
Sure.
So when you get to a big brokerage like this and there's caps, I mean, the agents, I sat down and I ran numbers for some of my agents when they were thinking about whether coming with us or not. And I mean, apples to apples, they were making more coming to a brokerage like this with the cap than they were
Mhm.
with me. And it's not that I wouldn't want to give them caps. It was just you just can't as a small brokerage. And so it's not
It's not financially
yeah.
feasible.
And when you lay it out like that for your agents to say, hey, I'm doing this because not only is it helping me, it's absolutely going to help you. And they can actually see the numbers. They'll be loyal
Yeah.
to you and they'll come with you, because they know that
Yeah.
you really care about their well being too, and not just yours. So
Yeah.
overall, there was no negative in making the decision to switch over. The only negative was you're just letting go of your baby, but like
Mhm.
your real babies, at some point you got to let them go. You can't hold on to them.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
that's good. Yes, like, at some point, you have to let your kids
yeah,
go, so
let him, yeah,
what this is no
yeah,
different. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, and I understand. Look, listen, from a male perspective, I mean, our egos can be very strong.
yeah,
So to admit that, we need help,
yeah.
that and I'll be, completely honest, that's something that I really am working on
Mhm.
because, being, alone for a good portion of my life, not with, I have family obviously,
Yeah,
but in like the day-to-day in life itself,
yeah.
I've grown accustomed to just figuring out and doing everything on my
Making your
own.
own decisions. Yeah.
Yes. So when I do need help, and Aaron gets on me all the
Mhm.
time about this, is like, you have to come and ask.
Yeah.
You can't do
Yeah.
everything. So as a male, it sometimes can be challenging for me to openly say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this, man. I need some
Yeah.
help." So I get it. I can understand that from letting go of the brokerage, letting go
Yeah.
perspective. So,
Well,
all right, well, we can close on this, and I'm really curious, because your experience is yours. I wouldn't be able to speak on owning a brokerage,
mhm.
having the successes that you've had, partnering with another
Yeah.
brokerage, and now seeing your success go to another level.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to, let's say, another broker, an owner of a company, whether it's 20 agents or 200
Mhm.
agents? What would you say to them, or what advice would you give to
Mm.
them, that they're going through now that was similar to you?
I would say my best advice is go back to your why. Why did you start your brokerage? And then look
Mm,
at, is everything happening right in front of you? Does it correlate to the reason why you started the brokerage? Is it supporting and adding, leading you down the path that you were once on? Or have you gotten way off that path and you don't even remember your why, and you're just in the minutia of everything that you just can't even remember why you're doing what you're doing? I think when
yeah.
we go to our why, because my why was, hey, I want to start a brokerage, I want to help people, I want to be able to get to a point where I don't have to be stuck in one place and just travel and have fun and really enjoy life. And that
Hmm.
wasn't happening for me because I was so stuck in that place of building, 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 that I lost sight. And when you lose sight of something, everything will start to crumble around you. And so get back to asking your question, why did I do this? And am I on the right track? And then look at
Right.
your numbers. Are you prospering while you're doing this? And if you're not, and you consistently have to loan the company money to pay for salaries and this and that, because the market is low, and especially like you said right now, the market has shifted. So are you able to sustain the shift? Are you, the next couple years, with the way agents have been closing deals, are you going to be okay? Or are you going to have to start putting money back into your business? And if you're there, then you really need to reconsider everything and talk to someone, like you said. Don't be afraid.
It's important. It is, especially for, and I'll say this, especially for brokers and owners that have owned a business for a long time. You've owned your brokerage a long time, and you're just like, no, I'm not. There is a better way, and Christine is proof. She's proof positive that there is a better way, and you can still keep, that brokerage running if it's, your own.
Yeah, and I
you can
actually
still do it.
just signed on 2 new agents. 3 agents in the last month and a half. So I'm still acting as a broker. So that doesn't stop. And the second advice I want to give is make sure when you do decide, if you decide, okay, I'm ready to take that leap and join and do what you're doing, join something, make sure you pick the right team. Make sure you pick the right team to join, because the last thing I wanted to do was, okay, I'm going to give this up. I'm going to go join EXP. Oh, nope. A year later. Oh, no, I got to go join another company because what they promised, they're not delivering. We're going a year and a half with you guys. You still deliver everything you promise. And, I'm grateful for that. So make sure whoever you join, hopefully it will be us, that you don't have to, again, go find another home because you're not getting what was promised to you. Yeah. Any company will give you leads. You'll go there and they say, well, we'll give you leads. That doesn't happen.
We can give you fish, but we'll teach you actually how to fish and get your own. And that's that's, again, I pride myself on being able to do that and do it at a high level. You are too. When the time is right, you do that for your agents. And look, I've said this ad nauseum to my team and to when I give talks. The market, guys, is not getting any better. They said this in last year, and even at the end of 23, they were like, "Oh, rates are going to come down," and things. Guys, we're now 3 years into this, going on 4, and we don't see relief. Even if the Fed drops the overnight rate an eighth of a point or a quarter point, it's going to have minimal effects on the overall interest rates that banks and lenders are going to give to you. So transactions have been down consistently year over year. So who you partner with matters, and who you work with matters, because are they arming you and giving you the skills, the knowledge, the team support to help you go out into the world, find your own business, create your own leads and your own business, so that at the end of the day, you're able to flourish and survive and live very well. And then what does that mean? You're able to give back to yourself, your family, and your business.
Yeah. And like you said, you really need the tools, the right tools. It's not just about, yes, marketing yourself on social media is very important, but there's other ways that, some agents don't like to cold call or whatever it is, but there are other ways that, you guys train for us to do, which, I know probate, working with probate, working with, there's a million ways that you can get clients, and people are constantly buying and selling. I don't think buying and selling will ever stop. It's just, where do you go to find those people is the question. And I think that's what you guys are so good at, is teaching us not just to go on social media to find that, but in other avenues, other ways to do it, which is key. So,
yeah. Thank you. And yes, guys, real estate's been going on for hundreds of years. It'll go on for hundreds more after we're gone. Then it just becomes a matter of, are you in and this is it's very important to be in proximity to the right people that are producing results that you want to produce or more. Are you in proximity to them? Are they, then if you are you able to get the skills that they have, whether it's through scripts, whether it's through trainings, whether it's through webinars, whatever the case is? Are you able to learn and up your skill level to have the best years of your life? Because I'm having one of the best years that I've had. And I'm sure I know you are, because I see what you're putting out there, because you're able to just focus on production. And if agents want to partner with you and talk about it, you're able to focus on that. Yeah, this was great. I really appreciate you, spending some time and sharing some time with us. How can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on social media, Christine Adjum, and you can call me 508-864-1536. So text, call, social media.
Awesome. And then you guys, the deal with me. Everything, on this podcast, the Daniel Mesrobian podcast, on socials, just Daniel at Daniel Mesrobian. Shoot me a DM. We'll have a conversation. Again, if any of this applies to you, you're an agent out there and you're just, you're not in proximity to people that are operating at a higher skill level, able to produce the results that you're looking for. Whether you're an agent, you're a broker, or you're an owner of a company, Christine will have a private conversation with you about what's going on. So reach out to me, reach out to her. Again, the Daniel Mesrobian podcast, socials, I'm at Daniel Mesrobian, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or you can just email me at the Mesrobian team at Gmail, and we'll have a conversation about that. So give us a call, reach out to us. We are here to help. Christine's here to help. I am here to help. The elite builders are here to help. We will train you. We will skill you guys up to where you don't have to worry about what kind of market it is. It doesn't matter. You're able to go out and get your own business no matter what. Christine, thank you for being a partner of us today. Really appreciate you. And thanks, guys.
Seller's motivation. That is the most important thing you can find. With any real estate transaction, that's the most important thing. It isn't getting the property sold. It's why the seller needs to sell. So when you dig with these pointed questions that we train you, what is in a seller's mind as to what their problem is, why they need to sell?